Hey everyone, welcome to yet another episode of Buds and Blue Jays. I'm your host, Jesse Burrell, and I am joined as always by my co-host, Riley McConnell. And Riley, the Blue Jays just moved into New York this week after a series win against the Texas Rangers. Game one of the series saw the Jays win 3-0 with Alek Manoah pitching 6 shutout innings with 4 walks, 7 Ks. Jordan Romano got the save, 3 hits from Santiago Espinal, 3 RBIs from George Springer, including a 2-run home run. So good stuff in the Blue Jays in game one. Game two went the Yankees' way. Jays went 0 for 13 with runners in scoring position in the first 2 games of the series here. Yusei Kikuchi made his Blue Jays debut, 3 1/3 innings pitched, 3 earned runs. Command was kind of iffy, but he did show some flashes of good off-speed there. We had 2 more hits for George Springer there. And the bullpen did its job after Kikuchi got out there. And in game 3, which happened last night, Jays won 6-4. Vladdy did something pretty good, 4 for 4 with 3 home runs, including 2 off Garrett Cole. George Springer had a clutch hit. Jose Barrios, 5 innings, 6 hits, 3 walks, 3 earns, 5 Ks. Team got better. And game 4 is currently in a rain delay. So we don't know what the outcome of that game is going to be here, whether the Jays end up splitting the series or winning 3-1. But good stuff in the Blue Jays all around there. Anything to add there quick, Riley?
Yeah, certainly. It's we got a tough series against a divisional rival in New York. We know coming in that our pitching needed to be improved. And right out of the gate, we saw Alek Manoah do Alek Manoah things. I talked about I didn't believe in the sophomore slump. He goes out there and is absolutely dynamite. I would have let him gone longer than 7 innings. I know the walks look a little concerning. That's a trend for me on both sides. That we'll get into more later in the episode about walks and how both sides of the ball is kind of impacting us right now. Yeah, currently in a rain play, and I hope we take this one tonight. Kevin Gausman, baby, let's get him the win.
Absolutely. We'll have updates on that as that goes on here. I guess that links us to our 3 up, 3 down of the series here. And Riley, you already mentioned your first thumbs up there, Alek Manoah. You want to start with him?
Yeah, for sure. Alek Manoah, man, like the first start of the year, they have him slated as our 4th starter on the team, which, he's in the rotation no matter what. I don't care where he throws. He's going to do great. And he's facing a tough offense in a tough hitter's ballpark in New York. And he goes out there, like you said, he struck out 7 in 6 innings, giving up only 1 hit. I think that is a huge number, man. Anytime you go out, you could even in 3 innings, only giving up 1 hit is an accomplishment. But you double that and go out in 6 innings. That's huge, man. The only concerning part, 4 walks. I don't hate that number, but if that could be dropped just a little bit, I think Alek Manoah is going to have so many quality starts for us. This is the first of many.
Yeah, first start of the year too, and 3 of those 4 walks came in 1 inning, so it's just a little spout there. The Jays really needed a good start from Alek Manoah too, seeing how Hyun-Jin Ryu struggled and Jose Barrios struggled, and Gausman was just okay in the Texas series. So we really needed a guy to come out here and shove the way Alek Manoah did. So it was great to see coming off the back there. And I want to make note with Alek Manoah too. He threw his changeup a lot more in this start. He talked about in the offseason how Kevin Gausman was kind of teaching him his changeup. And he was told, like, coming up through the minors and through college, his 2 pitches were just good enough that he didn't need to do it. But now that he's on the big leagues and these are pretty good hitters he's facing, that 3rd pitch is just going to be even better. And he got a good chunk of whiffs on that. So thumbs up from me from Alek Manoah here. And I'm excited to see what happens in his next start against Oakland.
Certainly. Oh, and he's got an easier offense to tear through there. Let's see more of Alek Manoah. I know there's more on the way. Jesse, you had a thumbs up. You agree with Manoah. What about your guy? Tell me about who's your guy, baby.
Well, a little crazy. We started the show with Alek Manoah today when Vladimir Guerrero Jr. last night just had his 2nd 3-homer game of his career. It's kind of funny. His dad has played a very luxurious big league career. He's in the Hall of Fame. He never had a 3-homer game. Vlad's done it twice now. Did it last year against Max Scherzer, and he does it this time against Garrett Cole. Like, the things Vladimir Guerrero is able to do are just significantly better than a lot of players in Major League Baseball. Like, he took that pitch inside of the hands, probably about a foot off the plate, 98 miles per hour, pulled it to right center field. And this all came after Aaron Hicks stepped on his hand and Vladdy was bleeding, and we thought we were going to have to take him out of the game. Like, Vlad Guerrero Jr. is a superstar, man. He's something special, and he's already got 2 of the 3 hardest hit balls in all of baseball already this season. It's kind of fitting that if you look at the home run leaderboards after yesterday's game, Vladimir Guerrero Jr. is best in baseball right now.
Best in baseball, best in the business, Vlad Jr., because we've had other hitters have slow starts. he genuinely looks like the best hitter in MLB.
Mhm.
I'll comment on about what you said about if Vlad Sr. had more pitches thrown in the dirt, he might have had a 3 home run game. But his kid, Vlad Jr., man, this is the franchise. Like, you want to see big games like this. Totally dumbfounded on how he got around that ball. For me and you, that's a broken bat. In on the hands like that. It showcases this guy's strength. Just a pure hitter. Glad he's good on the hand. Like 3 home runs. I don't go out and ask for that. I ask for quality plate appearances. But spoil us crazy, Vlad. Like, what a great performance. 4 for 4 too.
Yeah, he's so good. I'm glad he's on our team and we don't have to watch our pitchers try to go against him, man. Yeah. Let's go on to our next thumbs up here, Riley. Who do you got?
Well, last in the thumbs up, but first in our lineup, let's talk about George Springer in the first game of the series, driving in every single run of the ball game, make it happen from the top guy on the lineup, a veteran guy. There was a case of, is he going to decline at all? Like, you always use the term wrong side of 30. Yeah. But I really think that this is going to be a great year. I already have in my head that he's going to have by far the best power numbers from any leadoff hitter and contend in all of baseball for a lot of different categories. George Springer is just a good, pure hitter.
He's looked really good too. He went 6 for 14 over the first 3 games of this series. And like you mentioned, he had the 2-run home run and all 3 RBIs in game 1. He also had a clutch RBI single on the game on Wednesday to give the Blue Jays the lead. He's behind Vladdy. George Springer is our best hitter right now after Vlad. He, like, even on his misses, he looks like he's just missing them. Like, he's just popping them up or just hitting these line drives down there. And he's already second place on the team in terms of OPS, weighted runs created plus and more. And he's already accumulated in just 7 games, 0.5 wins above replacement. So 7 games, accumulate half a WAR. That's just how good that George Springer has been to start the year so far.
I don't even know the math on that. If his trajectory was to stay up, 0.5 wins per every 7 games would give you an astronomical wins above replacement. Like, that's Hall of Fame WAR right there.
It would be the best season in baseball history.
Yeah, I'm not saying that George Springer is a Hall of Fame guy, but this might be one of his top statistical years. I never remember George Springer as this guy in Houston. Maybe that was the Jays glasses on me looking at you, Houston, the bunch of cheaters things. I personally, except for, don't have anything against Springer at all because he wasn't on that side of it. Anyhow, like, I love to see Springer hit and hit well because I love him at the top of our lineup. Like, if you're starting with him, that's a lot to contend with. 4 RBIs and the other guys don't even get it, runs batted in. That's huge.
Yeah, 3 thumbs up there. Now we got to go on to the downside here, and we're going to go with 3 thumbs down that we saw from the Blue Jays. This offense is just not drawing enough walks. Like, what happened? Last year, they were pretty good at drawing the walks, which led to some of the best offense in the American League. But this year, the Blue Jays currently have a 4.5% walk rate, which is dead last in all of baseball. In fact, they've only had, coming into tonight's game, they've only walked 10 times. That's it. Bo Bichette, Santiago Espinal, and Raimel Tapia have yet to draw a walk. Alejandro Kirk, Vladdy, Lourdes Gurriel, Danny Jansen, each have only walked once. In fact, they only have 3 hitters who have walked more than 1 time. And it's really hard to build a consistent offense without putting these guys on base, right? Because, yeah, you can hit, but sometimes if you hit them right at them, they're not going to fall, and then the offense can be in trouble. If you're getting those walks, it can lead to more consistent offensive production. And I think it might be a little concerning that we're not seeing that as of yet.
Geez, you're starting to sound like Billy Beane, and we haven't even got to our next series recap yet. Yeah, we need more walks from these guys. I talked, about 5 minutes ago about how our pitchers were, I think, in my opinion, giving up too many walks. While our hitters had been talking to Bo Bichette an awful lot this offseason about swinging freely. And we do have the offense that we can, and we have such strong hitters that we don't need to walk all the time, but we do need to be way more selective, and we do need to essentially draw more walks. We need to get those base runners on for our big bats to drive in more runs.
For what it's worth, though, the trade-off there, I guess, is the Blue Jays do lead baseball in home runs with 11 through the first 7 games of the season. So
I'm not surprised. I'm not surprised.
If we can only turn those solo home runs into 2 or 3 run home runs, this offense could really get going. Riley, for your thumbs down here, what do you want to talk about next?
Well, my thumbs down it's more what we're missing. I'll cover the catcher. You can cover the other guy.
Yeah.
But losing Danny Jansen, he got placed on the 10-day DL. Yes, this is going to give us a chance to see other catchers in our organization, like that Hyman guy. Collins, it'll give him a chance. And Kirk, obviously going to swing between catcher and DH. But this Jano's start to the year was red hot.
Oh yeah.
And his defense is premium defense as far as I'm concerned. Like, I know it doesn't show in a short scale as catcher defense, but for the longevity of what it's worth over a whole season, which Jansen hasn't played many whole seasons, and this could have been his first step in the real right direction. A lot of players on the Jays, because they're so young and the COVID shortened season and now playing at home. It's a huge loss for the Jays, and it's a big kind of, not going to say it's a step back for Jansen, but it's always tough to lose your starting catcher. I mean, that's huge.
It's amazing how the Blue Jays here went from having some of the best catching depth in baseball with Jansen, with Alejandro Kirk, with when we had Reese McGuire and then Gabriel Moreno coming up, to now almost seeing like 7 games into the season, we're running on thin. Like, Taylor Heineman and Zach Collins do not look good right now. They've been like basically a strikeout every time they've come up to the plate. And report from Charlie Montoyo is that Alejandro Kirk's only going to be catching 3 out of the 5 starters right now, with, like you said, DHing the rest of these days here. So that means we're going to get a lot of Collins and a lot of Heineman. And if the Blue Jays want to take these games seriously and try to put their best foot forward, I don't think Collins and Heineman are going to be good enough at the back catching position for this team. So that makes me ask you, Riley, do we just go ahead and do we call up Gabriel Moreno now, 7 games into the season, just to get that impact bat behind the plate?
That's a really tough call. I would say give it a little more time. If this persists for the season, at some point you almost want to push him in that direction. But if he does not perform at the big league level, you gotta immediately usher him back to Buffalo, because you don't want to ruin this kid's confidence. I mean, he's probably one of our best position top prospects since Vladdy. Obviously, that's an obvious one. And at the catcher position, where it seems like we're hurting big right now, I say give it a little time. Maybe Collins is terrible defensively, but maybe the strikeouts kind of go down. And as far as Riley Adams 2.0 there, I don't know what to think of Hyman. Obviously a minor league guy, and we're kind of just working with what we got right now.
I do think the Jays are probably looking for a catcher upgrade outside the organization somewhere. So if someone goes through waivers or something, or maybe a small trade can be made. But yeah, it's kind of amazing how this team's kind of really missing Reese McGuire right now.
Yeah. I was always a Reese fan. I understand the trade for baseball and why it happened. And it's like a breakup. Like, I wish him nothing but the best for the White Sox. I think he'll do well. He's always been an offensively gifted catcher and never really got to showcase that. Maybe he goes to the Central League and does that, But for in Toronto right now, we do need the help at catcher.
Right, we do have to talk about another injury that happened amidst of Vladdy hitting 3 home runs and tearing the cover off the ball. Teoscar Hernandez came up holding his side after a swing and tried to run it out, and came up limping, holding his hamstring. So he's placed on the 10-day IL today with an oblique injury. Now, typical oblique injuries last 4 to 6 weeks, but for what it's worth, Teo did injure his oblique in 2020 and came back after the minimum 10 days, which was very surprising at the time and probably surprising for Teo too. So he could be out a while. The reports that he was saying today, it's not as bad as you might have thought. So maybe it's only 2 weeks time instead of the 4, but I would brace for at least 3 weeks without Teo. So what is this team going to look like without him? Because Teoscar Hernandez has been one of the best players on this team, and the Jays are really going to need some offensive thump. It sounds like Raimel Tapia and Bradley Zimmer are going to get more playing time, plus maybe throwing Kevin Biggio out in the corner outfield. I don't know. I don't think Dexter Fowler's ready yet. This team just DFA'd Josh Palacios, so I don't know if they can get him back. Could really use a guy like Randall Grichuk right now, but yeah, I don't know how we're going to replace Teoscar's injury in the meantime.
Well, I'll tell you kind of what it's going to look like. We're definitely losing a middle of the guy, essentially our cleanup hitter.
Yeah.
Teoscar's a huge loss for us, obviously. And we hope that the injury is not as bad as it seems. Obviously, he's a tough guy. If he took a shortened leave from obviously what could be a nagging injury for a lot of players and has been. We're losing a power bat, but we're kind of working with tools here. We're playing a different game. So we step back. We can't really replace him with a power bat.
No.
So with Tapia and Zimmer, who are 2 faster guys, let's try to incorporate something. Obviously, they're going to be hitting down in our lineup. They're going to do a big shift where it's a situation of Lourdes hitting in the cleanup spot. You could see Chapman in there for a couple games and hitting. You could see Kirk in there for a couple games. This opens the door up for opportunity to drive in more runs possibly. But you're going to see 2 lefty bats in the lineup. That's a positive, if anything. I'm just trying to look on the lighter side of this injury. It's always tough, though, to lose a power bat. And Teoscar Hernandez is in our opinions, and I think in a lot of Blue Jays fans, like, he's a very underrated MLB hitter. And it's very clear with how he's hit the last couple of years. We're going to see more speed and less power.
Jays are really going to need Matt Chapman to step it up. We're going to need Alejandro Kirk to step it up. We're going to need Lourdes Gurriel to step it up to cover the bat that Teoscar Hernandez was missing from this lineup here. Hopefully it's not too long, and hopefully all we need is a good little run from maybe Raimel Tapia's ground balls get through and he can cause some havoc on the bases. I don't know. Jays are going to need to do something, though, if they want to keep up this torrid start to this season. That's our 3 ups, 3 downs segment there. This weekend, the Blue Jays return back home. Again, welcome in your Oakland A's, Riley. On game 1, Ross Stripling's actually going to get the first start. We saw him pitch once. He's 0-0 with an ERA of 9. Remember, he walked 3 guys in this first inning against Texas, so he'll be getting the spot start here against Dalton Jeffries. Hyun-Jin Ryu is going to get game 2, him and his 16.2 ERA against Paul Blackburn. And in game 3, we're going to see Alek Manoah against Adam Oller, who has a 33.75 ERA. So, Riley, what are you paying attention for in the series against Oakland this weekend?
Well, I'm very familiar with the Oakland Athletics organization, and I can tell you, except for that last guy, Adam Oller? Yeah, I do not know who he is, but I am familiar with Jeffries and Mr. Paul Blackburn, and I can tell you that when I went to my last Blue Jays game of 2021, I watched Paul Blackburn get absolutely smoked in that game. The Blue Jays have his number, and Jeffries is a situation like he is, to me, just a AAA pitcher. He's got the pitcher figure. He can throw hard, but it's a matter of control, and he doesn't have that much movement on his pitches. And Oakland's like really hurting in their organization. Obviously, it's Toronto has stolen their hearts, and Atlanta's got their kidneys, right? We'll take one right from Moneyball, man. We stripped them of their big boys, the carpets, the 2 mats, as I like to call them. They sawed the carpet in half. I think we're gonna kill Oakland in this series, man. I'm gonna like watching it, man. I always like when Oakland's in town.
Think they're gonna get the sweep, or you think they're gonna go 2 out of 3, or how do you think it's gonna run?
As you said last episode, baseball's funny. It's a 3-game series. It's a 3-game series. I think we kill them, but I think one of the games is funny on us, and we come out with 2 wins out of 3.
2 out of 3 would be a good way to go. It means we wouldn't have lost the series in the first 3. I'm excited to see how Hyun-Jin Ryu looks in his next start here, especially if Danny Jansen's not behind the plate to catch him. He came off he's facing a poor offensive team and what the Oakland A's should be. So let's see if Hyun-Jin Ryu can get back on track here and to really go. And we're going to need our bats to pick it forward if we're going to keep this going on, honestly. Riley, anything else to add before we get out of here today?
No, with the Oakland series, they are a little bit hotter than you think. They did score, I think, 8 or 9 runs the other night. So in spurts, it comes down to pitching for us, man. It will come down to pitching. We need our pitchers to be better. We shouldn't go, maybe against the Yankees, it's more forgivable to walk hitters like Stanton and Judge instead of them hitting, big 450-foot bombs. Right. But I think against Oakland, you got to be aggressive on the hill. And maybe it's a chance we shake their confidence that way. Their pitcher's rattled. Let's take a couple more walks that way. This could be a really good stepping stone for us.
That's what we need. And if the Blue Jays are going to be even better, they need to take advantage of these teams that they should beat on paper. That's going to do it for us here today. Make sure you follow us on Twitter @BudsJays. Make sure you like and subscribe to the YouTube channel. We got a small little group, and we're slowly continuing our way up there. So we'd like to see those numbers rise. We'll be back Sunday night, I guess, to preview this Oakland series. And then if there's any breaking news or anything, we'll touch on it then. Until then, we'll see you next time.
See you guys.